All right, good afternoon. It is September 13th, 2022, and here's what we had today. Pretty much two measured legs down. We had that news item, uh, and I think what you wanted to do is measure it to this double bottom, and then that swing high, that's the second leg, and you can see we pretty much made a measured move at the end of the day. So I guess let me get that in there. So this is what we're looking at. So let's take a look at these trades. Perhaps I missed something. I'm not sure though. I think, what is this, 530? So is there anything before 530? You're getting like a double test right here, and it's at the EMA, but that's not a bullish signal bar. For me, that's a doji. So you would have to wait, and you get this like quick 150 point sell-off or something like that. And then we're just chopping around. You get a first entry, second entry that doesn't set up well. And I viewed this as a spiking channel down. We come up here, and this is a second entry short, but the signal bar is not good. But maybe you take it. Yeah, that signal bar is not really good enough to take, but with that sell-off, maybe you want to take it. Not me. Now we form this congestion that brings us back to the EMA, and I mean, I guess you could. This isn't really a new high, so I wouldn't look at that as a failure. Plus, it's super congestive. Just wait on a big sell-off day like this. I think you should just try and wait for a better setup. And we're chopping around. You get this, actually, you get this second entry short right here. I had this as a range. So I would wait on a lower high, and the lower high right here isn't a good signal bar, or else I'd probably take it to test the midline, and that's what happens. On the MES, you got a good signal bar for that, but not here. So we bounce off the midline, go higher, hit the larger trend channel, this spiking channel down, and you get a first entry, failed second entry. Maybe you take that if you recognize this trend, but that's really aggressive. You would only be able to take that because of the bias, the downward bias. So we come down here, and then we form this congestion. You got a leg up into this congestion, a leg out, and then it tries to go higher twice, but this is a range. So I don't think you can take that. I mean, I'd just be nervous about that EMA. It does look like a failed break higher, but that EMA would frighten me a little. And actually, you get a failed second entry short right here. But with that bias, I don't think I would take that. So, but that is a failure. So that kind of looks like maybe it's a spike and channel up. And that fails after making a new high, and then you get a really nice first entry. Actually, it's not nice. I don't know why I started saying that. You get a failure, but it's far from the EMA. So I think you just got to wait. And this is like half an hour after the open until we get our first really good setup, and it's a second entry short. You can see there's probably a bunch of people picking bottoms right here. And what was I going to say? First of all, this kind of looks like maybe it's a trend channel. So, oh, that's what I was going to say. You see a bounce off this midline. If people had this and they saw that, maybe they would think, oh, this is a good place to go long. I don't know. But you get a second entry short, and that's your first good trade of the day. Plenty of room to this low to scalp out, and then we're just too far from the EMA, and we make a triple bottom right here, break higher, and this range you would have drawn differently, but it doesn't really matter. These would be the highs. That kind of looks like a failed break higher, so maybe you take that with room back to the EMA, but it's just a first entry really. But then we come back to this trend channel again, and you get a first entry, second entry, but the signal bar is no good, unfortunately. So then we come back into the range and we're just super congested. And then you get this lower high off the trend channel. Maybe you take that. I don't know. This is clearly a trend channel. But if you're patient, you get a failure right here. Maybe you take that. This looks like maybe it's off the channel. Yeah, so there's reason to take that. Nothing great though. And then we form this channel up, and you get a break and a move to a new high. So maybe you take that. There's just not a lot of good trades that I'm seeing until this. We form this channel, and you get a first entry, failed second entry. I like this with the bias, how strong down it is. Even though we shot through the EMA here and here, I think that's a good trade. And then we continue to test this trend channel, and you get another failed second entry long. Even though it looks congested, we know the bias is down, and you can see this trend channel working lower. Then we get this channel of correction back to this trend line again. Did we get a break yet? I don't think we got a break yet. So test it, it goes lower, you get a first entry, failed second entry, and I was pretty surprised, but actually there are hints here. Okay, so this formed congestion, so after this one, I don't think you would want to jump in. You can see it probably gave some people a heart attack. Then you get that double test, but I think it's too late at that point because then it looks like congestion. But you can see we come up short of the trend channel right here, and then it's just sideways until a break. But that is a second entry short and a failed second entry long, so I like that. But we get a break higher, breakout pullback. They're probably just trapping a bunch of longs here, and try and break lower again. It fails. We form this yellow range, and then within that yellow range we form this blue channel up. So we start trending up, and you get some nice touches off of that, but it's just a matter of time, or at least it felt like it was a matter of time before this fails. And you get this overshoot, lower high. Maybe you take that if you're feeling aggressive to ride it back into the yellow channel. But when you get this failed second entry long, I think you got to take that. It's off of this pink channel. I'm going to delete that now, but you can see it's off of that channel. I think you got to take that. And you can see it tests the lows and then bounces a little. So we form this trend channel. Right here we get confirmation. First entry, failed second entry long. Not the greatest setup, but you could argue for it. Then we come down here, and this is the low of the yellow range, and they're just trapping a bunch of longs. So we form this resistance here. You get a second touch with a second entry short, but the signal bar is no good. And then you come and you get a double test, and it's off of this trend channel. I think you take that, and you can see a lot of people like that. And we had this blue channel, but then we formed a steeper channel, or maybe not really steeper, but a parallel channel down here. This kind of looks like a second entry, but it's not. You get a first entry, second entry right here off the EMA, off of this pink channel. Okay, and we keep going lower. This is some sideways stuff here, but you can see we get a failure right here off of that pink channel. And if you're seeing that right, I say you take that, and we just keep selling off. We come down here, ride that midline for a little while. This is too far from the EMA. This looks like a failure. I don't think you want to take that. And then we get a break. And here you get a new low, first entry, second entry, very far from the EMA. Looks like two measured legs up, so maybe you take that. And this is too congestive. This is a lower high. Maybe you take that, but this is too congestive. And that's all I saw for today. So there's a lot of price action, these big sell-offs. But anyway, I hope everyone had a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow.